Howdy everybody, Hellcrax here, and welcome to Mercenary Thoughts from the Inner Sphere, episode 153. And today we're going to be talking about the Blackjack, the 45-ton mech that it's a kind of a quandary. You know, it's one of those mechs I like, love, and hate. Yeah. I'll just see what they did to it with the Blackjack 2, which is the 3050 version, compared to the older version. You know, the older version, this is basically the same mech, but they did some changes to it. The first thing they did was ripped off a couple things and replaced them. Now, the Blackjack 2 is 45 tons. It's a 464. Alright, so it does have some mobility. It's not really fast. I always consider it kind of a backup mech or a city fighter type thing in its previous configuration. It has 11 heat sinks like the old one, the Blackjack 1, but they're double heat sinks, so we have 22 can dissipate 22 heat, which is good. Still has 136 points of armor. Alright, just I think it's a ton short or something like that of maximum. Then for the equipment, alright, we have 2 ER large lasers in each arm. So we got one in each arm, so that's good. Replace the AC2s, which, you know, AC2s are good for long range plinking and maybe taking on vehicles and VTOLs and stuff like that. But when it comes to needing something a little more heavy hitting, well, they swapped them out for some ER large lasers. I can get behind that. But then they turn around to this. They have 2 Streak 2 SRMs in the left torso with a ton of ammo. 2 SRM2 Streaks in the right torso. And then right and left leg had the jump jets, 2 each. Alright. Yeah, it's a design that I can get behind per se. I like the idea they got rid of the AC2s. AC2s, for the most part, is massively a wasted tonnage. You know, it's one of those weapon systems, if they'd gone back, way back in the day, I think an AC2 should probably have shot like 4 or 5 times. You know, you get that many rolls, just plink, 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 like a big giant autocannon. And then, okay, then it's worthwhile. But, you know, you're throwing a bunch of tonnage into something that just does same amount of damage as a machine gun. Alright, but you got longer range. Yeah, well, should be shooting more times. Then, so that's what I like, is that they got rid of those, replaced them with the ER large lasers. Fine. Alright, get behind that. Like it. Then they turned around and got rid of the 4 medium lasers and replaced them with streaks. Okay. Yeah. Streaks. Streak 2s. Well, it's plinking away. It's back to doing that 2-point damage shots. It's one of those things where you roll to see if you hit or not. If you don't hit, obviously you're not going to be launching them. So that's the one nice thing about streaks, but you're giving up a potential of 20 points of damage for 8 points of damage. The math is not there for me. I just no, don't like it. So when it comes to the Blackjack 2, this is one of those mechs where, okay, now you can sit at a little bit longer range and hammer away for a couple turns with the large laser, ER large lasers, do some good damage, and then when somebody gets in close, and you just pepper them with all the little 2-point shots. Okay, yeah. If you get near, let's say, some light mechs or medium mechs that don't have some good armor on them, yeah, you've ripped some holes in them with the large lasers, possibly, and then you turn around and then hit them with the streaks and hopefully find those holes that you created with the large lasers and do some crits. But I'm under the camp where I prefer to just rip armor off of them with the medium lasers. It's the same ranged weapon system, but to me that's a step backwards. Alright, but then again, I'm on the medium laser is the best weapon system that the Inner Sphere has. You know, I like them. And put a bunch on, you know, why not? You already had a mech system that had some decent firepower to begin with, up close and personal, with those medium lasers that you had on the Blackjack 1. So, why change things? I don't know. So, how do I use this thing? Alright, I already said that, you know, this is one of those mechs where it's got jump jets, so it can do fairly decently in a city fight, you know, where it can be hide, step out, jump out, hammer away with the 2 large lasers, and then when the stuff starts getting kind of hot, they can disappear or just place to another street and find some other target that's looking like it needs to be hit. And it can get up to a level 4 building, which, you know, a lot of buildings that I have in my collection are level 4s, 3s and 4s. So that makes sense. Kind of useful that route. But then you start looking at, yeah, if there's any taller buildings, then obviously it suffers from the same problem with a lot of other mechs. You know, if you want to go to a different street, you're going to have to go down to the corner, turn the corner, and go down. All right, if you get a bunch of tall buildings, you know, this thing cannot leap a building with a single bound. You know, that's where mechs like the Phoenix Hawk come in handy. You know, and I really love the Phoenix Hawk for just that purpose, being able to get around and being mobile. Oh, they're in the same tonnage too. So yeah. So I guess if I had my druthers between a Blackjack or a Phoenix Hawk in a city fight, I'm going to take the Phoenix Hawk. But if you are one of those individuals, is this is a scenario you got stuck with, or this is all you have in your mercenary company, well, we're going to have to make the best of it. And the odds are, if you're a mercenary company, you probably have a Blackjack 1 instead of the Blackjack 2. All right, we'll get back to that. All right. There's a ton of other variants. Now, well, I guess I should go back and state, if you are in the open, obviously, or running around on an open type battlefield where you got trees, buildings, and stuff like that, this is one of those mechs that's going to have some slight problems occasionally. But if you're in the same boat, you know, you have a whole bunch of 4.6, 4.64 type of mechs like Centurions and stuff like that, or Hunchbacks, well, then it's, you know, you're falling under the same category as, like, okay, you know, everybody's in the same boat, so you just kind of row your way to across the field. And so that just comes down to, this is a good mech that can either be one, if this version, if you have a fire support team, like with some catapults or archers and stuff like that, this mech does pretty good as a bodyguard. Because it has some up-close personal weapons, not great anymore, but it does have a couple long-range weapons with those 2 ER large lasers. And if you get parked someplace in a wooded hex, it can sit back there and hammer away with those two. You know, fire for a couple turns, and it's going to have to cool off a little bit if you don't want to lose your movement modifiers. And if somebody starts coming in close, this mech can just, alright, depending how fast that mech is, you can use it as a up close, more of an interceptor. It's not really an interceptor, you know, per se, because the speed isn't there. But if you know a mech is trying to get behind, let's say you got a couple mechs, let's say you got a couple vehicles or something, like an LRM launcher or something like that, a carrier, and you know you want to protect them, you know where they are going. They're going to go after those mechs or vehicles to put some fire down on them, because maybe they're firing indirect. It doesn't take as much effort to get in the way of another mech than it is to intercept them, if you understand what I'm saying. So you know where their point of origin is going to be, where they're trying to get, you can cut them off. So the speed isn't there, but it can become like a speed bump, allowing your other forces to either displace or after they fired all their weapon systems to then remove themselves from the battlefield to be able to reload. All right, so you got that. Now let's just take a look at some of the variants. All right, there was the Blackjack 1X, which was the original prototype, which is kind of interesting, which kind of falls under the category. This would make it kind of interesting for a city fight. It was armed with the 2 autocannons, 2 flamers, and then you'd have the medium lasers, but it lacked jump jets. So if you got into a fight where you were facing off against infantry and stuff like that, those flamers would actually come in handy. So if you looked at the Blackjack 1 standard version, it seems like you could replace a couple medium lasers in, let's say, your torso, and replace them with 2 flamers. So if you wanted something that would be good for taking out infantry, that's an option. Let's think about that one. Then we had the 1 DB, or Delta Bravo. Blackjack was the Federated Suns variant, increased mech lethality. It has 1 ton plus more of armor, and the mounted autocannons and torso weapons were replaced with 2 large lasers and 6 heat sinks. So you got basically 2 medium lasers and 2 large lasers with 6 more heat sinks. So that would give it 17. So yeah, it could fire the 2 large lasers and then, or fire large laser and 2 medium lasers. Alright, so not a bad mech. That's kind of like the forefather of the one that we're talking about, the Blackjack 2. Then there was the 1DC, Delta Charlie. Blackjack was another variant inspired by the same battle, the same year, introduced at the same time. Rather than replace the arm-mounted weapons, the 1DC replaces its jump ability to add 2 more small lasers and additional heat sink to deal with the heat. Alright, so it's a 460, 2 small lasers in addition to the AC2. I'm not sure. Actually, I'd probably rather have small lasers go with either a flamer or another medium laser. Okay. Then we have the Blackjack 2, which we just talked about. Then there's the 2R. Dark Age, the era that shall not be named. Replaces the 2 large lasers backed up by a single medium laser, can jump the same distance and uses lever. So basically this is same mech. Interesting. So what's the difference? I don't know. Then there's a Blackjack 3, built by the Capellans on St. Ives for the 4th Succession War. This mech was probably the first in decades not to, if not centuries, to feature double heat sinks. Alright, so okay, the heat's stolen from the Federated Suns and okay, yeah. If I go back, where the heck is it? Alright, so this one, superior heat disposition, I can't even say it, allowed the mech to be equipped with 2 PPCs and 4 medium lasers, and the majority of the Blackjack 3s were turned over to the Federated Suns after the 4th Succession War, following the state's succession from when it succeeded from the Confederation during the war. Alright, so they were produced by St. Ives. Alright, so that's kind of an interesting one. So it has the standard PPCs and 4 medium lasers. So basically, you have to change things out a little bit. But yeah, with 11 double heat sinks, you're dissipating 22, and you got 2 PPCs. There's 20. So that's not a big deal. So you can run and fire those 2 without heating up. It's the only time you're going to heat up with firing the PPCs if you jump. Odds are you're probably not going to hit, but that gives you an option. So that one, when we were talking about being a fire support mech, kick back and be part of a fire support lance, yeah, I can see this one doing a good job, especially if you paired it up with some like Warhammers or something like that. So you have a bunch, say you got 2 of these and 2 Warhammers, you got a lot of PPCs going down range, hammering people. That would be a good combination. Alright, the Blackjack 4. Many of the Blackjacks and the Federated Sons were upgraded to this model after the FedCom Civil War. Half-ton armor was removed. Yeah, okay. Although it was upgraded to light ferrofibers. Alright, so you're gaining some of it back due to the ferrofibers. The result is most of the same armor protection. Just, I think it was like a point or 2 less. All the weapons of the Blackjack 2 were stripped out, and a light fusion engine was included. So, yeah, a little better. A light fusion engine gives you a little bit more tonnage, plus you don't have to worry about those 3 in each torso. So that's a good thing. Each arm mounts a light. It has an AC5 and an ER medium laser. So they use the tonnage to upgrade the AC2s to AC5s. So that, to me, that's like a step back. I'd rather have the ER large lasers. While 2 tons of case protected ammo, so in each torso. So, and a target computer. So there's a step up there. There's a target computer. Battle value a little higher. Personally, I think autocannons, unless you're a anti-aircraft mech, medium mechs and light mechs should have autocannons. It's too much tonnage for the bang for your buck when it comes to those. I've always stated that. But, you're backing it up with some targeting computer, so, yeah, okay, that's not bad. Okay, here's one that hardly ever talked about, though. It's the Blackjack A variant, the Arrow. This one has an arrow system on board and some machine guns. So it has 2 tons of ammo, and it has a medium laser still in each torso, a large pulse laser mounted in the center torso. Has a mounts a larger engine and ferrofibrous armor and endosteel, so and 11 double E zincs and 2 jump jets. So this is kind of a Frankenstein type of version, but it's somebody that decided to design one in a very different way. Now let's go back and talk about what I would do with this mech. Basically it's pretty simple. If I was going to build this mech, it would be, here we go. You take the Blackjack 1, and let's use that as our base, because there's probably a whole bunch of them laying out there. Now, odds are, if you're a mercenary company or some type of company, this is going to be what you're going to have. So rip off the 2 AC2s, replace them with 2 ER large lasers. Wait, we got extra tonnage to play with. Yay. Give it 2 more double heat sinks, so now you got 13 double heat sinks, so you can dissipate 26. And what's the most you can do with the 2 ER large laser? Wait, 24. Alright. So you can run and fire both of those at longer ranges and dissipate all your heat. Alright, good. Now, the only time, like I said, the only time you're going to heat up is if you fire those 2 large lasers and jump. So if you jump 3 or 4, you're going to go up 1 or 2. Alright, so you can do that for 2 turns. Now, we still have the 4 medium lasers. Like I said, I'd rather have medium lasers than anything else instead of those streaks. So there you go. So now you have 2 ER large lasers, 4 medium lasers, and the mech looks the same, except you can have the option. Now if you still got 1 time left, you can just put in standard armor and still have, I believe, the maximum amount of armor possible, which is 153, so I think you come up with 152. So there you go. There's your, you got a fully armored mech. You have some good firepower. It's all energy, so you can go out there, and it doesn't take a lot to play with, to mess with. It is something that any company can do, so you don't have to worry about ammo explosions. You can dissipate a lot of heat. You can do a lot of damage. All right, so 2 large ER large lasers, 4 medium lasers. All right, that's a 3050 upgrade that I prefer with my Blackjack. All right, now let's say you happen to be from the Draconians Combine, and you happen to have access to this, and you're in really good favors with them, and you could do the same upgrade, put ferrofibers on, and the double heat sink and all that stuff. Put ferrofibers on, saves you up a ton, and you might be able to put either another medium laser, you could put tag in, or a C3 slave unit, if by chance you happen to be in good graces with the Draconians Combine. How's that happen? I don't know, but let's say it is. Okay, so you could be, or even a house troop could reconfigure something of that nature, which would be a really good configuration. But the odds are you're probably just going to be throwing tag in there, so you can help out with other type of activities with the tag. All right, or you can run with some medium lasers. Now, if you look at both versions, let's say the first version I made, I said you can dissipate 26 heat. If you fire the 4 medium lasers and a large laser, that's 24. Nice balance. So you can run, fire, not heat up. Or if you jump, then you're going to go up. So you have the options there. You can fire the 2 large lasers to do some damage at range. Yes, it's 8-point shots, but you know, I'd rather have 8 points than 2 points. That's all I've always said. And you don't have to worry about ammo explosions. And if some gets closer, where you got the medium lasers get into range, then you can fire all the medium lasers and still fire a large laser. And it's a well-balanced mech. So that's what I love about the Blackjack. Is to be honest with you, I'd rather have a Blackjack one and reconfigure it with a couple simple ripping off the AC2s and put some large lasers on. And double heat sinks. That is it. That is the Blackjack in a nutshell. I played with both the Blackjack 1 and 2 many times. There is the one version where they do get rid of the AC2s and put the large lasers on. I've played that version before, but you know, that is basis of the reconfiguration of the one that I talked about. So you take the Blackjack 1, upgrade it with double heat sinks, large lasers, you're good. It's golden, and you have more armor. It's a great mech. So if you want to go back and change some of your stuff, or if you're playing a mercenary scenario or company or campaign, that's a good option you can go with. Alright, hope you guys like this. Like and subscribe. Share with all your friends. If you have anything you want to talk about, any rules or something, and you got the rule book handy, show me in a page or something so I can go look it up. Because that's one thing I have a major problem with, is that trying to find information in all those rule books is a pain. So if you have something you want to talk about, and you got the page number, share it. That saves me time having to go hunting it down, and sometimes I don't have time to do things. Time is short. All right. Well, I'll talk with you later. Hellcracks out.